anybody that wants to download the scripts now, I'm gonna drop the link in the chat, and you guys can click it, and it will open up for you to download the 3 scripts we're gonna go over here. Give me 1 second. I tried to email them to you guys earlier, but it was just too much going on, so I couldn't. So I'm gonna go ahead and do it now. And this link is going to expire in probably about 7 days. So just make sure you, if you're going to use the link that I'm putting in the chat now, that you guys use it within the next 7 days. Because if you don't, so here it goes here. You know what? It also looks like I might be able to do something else. Bear with me a second. It looks like I might be able to actually drop them here. Let's see. Okay, so I'm able to put these files actually directly in here. So that's what I'm gonna do. Then you guys can grab them if you want to. All right, you guys see those 3 files I just dropped in there?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. So we should be good to go on that. All right, so obviously from the video that I shot that you guys may have seen, I changed up a little bit what I was gonna be doing. I was gonna be doing a regular wheel workshop. And then I had to change it a little bit because obviously because of this COVID-19 stuff that's going on. So you obviously can't do a regular wheel workshop right now. So I want you to be able to set some things up as soon as you can go out. So I'm gonna cover a lot of that here in this as well. I got a couple of more alterations I need to make to the actual slideshow that I'm gonna send you all because of this COVID-19. So just give me like 24 to 48 hours before I send you the slideshow. But the scripts you guys already have, and of course the training I'll actually go over tonight. Right now with the churches, just keep in mind, you're not going to be able to get into a lot of churches right now, obviously, when this is over with, because a lot of churches, from my understanding from a few people I'm talking to, they're falling so far behind by not being able to have regular service. They're not getting tithes like they normally do. So you're not gonna get a lot of churches to allow you to come in and schedule a will workshop for them, because they're gonna be so off track when all this is over with, trying to recoup their congregation, all that kind of stuff. They're just not gonna do it probably right now. So I would really focus on going after your regular group accounts that you already have and doing will workshops with them. Also working with your general agents, working with your brokers, and working with your professional sellers. So there's a script in there for that. And if anybody's working the transportation arena at all, you definitely want to look at doing lounge meetings, because those you can actually, if you want to do lounge meetings right now, you still can. I just did one last week. For those that's like not going out at all, if you're saying like I'm not leaving the house because of all of what's happening, I understand that as well. So if you're not going to go out at all, then you can set up lounge meetings for after this is over with. But for those that are still working with truck drivers, because they're still out there moving, some of us are still working with our truck drivers because they're having a lot of legal issues. So a lounge meeting right now, talking about wills and getting them upgraded on a family plan, if they had a CDL plan, is really a great option for you to do right now. So I'm gonna talk about a script for that as well. So I'm gonna give you information on how to set up a lounge meeting as a will workshop, how to set up your GAs, brokers, and professional sellers on a will workshop, and also how to work with your regular group accounts. So like your wellness coordinator for the companies that you may be working with. Like when I know in the city, states, things like that, they have a wellness coordinator. Normally the bigger companies do. Sometimes the HR / wellness coordinator. It all depends on the size of the company and how they're structured. So if they don't have a wellness coordinator and you use that title, then you'll find when you use that title that they'll know what you're talking about, and they'll still give you somebody to work in that capacity to help you with that. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about engaging with the audience as well when you're doing it, because will workshops are more of an emotional thing than it is anything else. So I want you guys to also know that it really is about being able to engage with that audience and get them to kind of get emotional about this, and let the audience kind of do the presentation for you. That's important as well. So I don't ever encourage people to allow people to speak at a presentation that you're doing, except for when it's a will workshop. When it's a will workshop, you do want people to stand up and say, hey, this happened in my family, or we didn't have a will and this happened to my brother or my sister, because those stories will have a much deeper effect on your audience than you just talking by yourself. So that's pretty much how that works. So there you go on that. So I'm going to start with these scripts, and then I'm going to do the CDLP lounge one last because I know everybody's not transportation. So I will hold that one to last, but I will first do the regular group, and I will do the GA broker one as well. So if you guys are working with any insurance agents at all, this is a great way to get them active as it comes to working Legal Shield, because they're not used to our product. They don't want to give you their book of business because they don't trust you yet. So this is a great way to get into their book of business via Will Workshop. And for those who are going to be using flyers, they're saying, hey, I want to use the flyers and all those different types of things, I will give you access to my Canva. And what's going to happen with Canva is I already have a lot of the flyers on Canva. So when you log into my Canva, all you have to do is grab the flyer that you want and then change it. So you just alter it. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to my Canva, and I'll send you the information as you need it. So if you say, hey, look, I'm doing some events and I need the flyer, just email me and say I need it. I'll send you the password and login. And what you can do is you just go into my Canva, grab the flyer, and then you're going to hit copy. You're going to make a copy of that flyer so that you don't change the original. Make a copy of it, then grab the copy you made, and then just put your information on there. Put the location on there, change it to the location that you're dealing with, the name of the company you're dealing with, whatever you got going on. That way you can literally just make it really easy to do that. And I've got all kinds of thumbnails and everything on there. So there's a lot on my Canva, and I constantly add things to it every day. So those are some things you can use as well. So I'm gonna throw these scripts up as well. on the screen as I go over them. So I'm gonna throw the first one here up on the screen. And for those who grabbed it out of the chat box, you can, if you want to print it off and hold it in your hand or whatever, you know, whatever kind of visual you need, but I will be actually pulling them up here so that you can see it on the screen. All right, so you should see right now script for the wellness coordinator. It says script for wellness coordinator will workshop. So let me see. So what you'll see here is, I always break my scripts down so that you can totally kind of understand exactly where I'm going with the script, so that it makes more sense for you guys. If anybody has the, if anybody's got anybody messaging them, because I can't respond to anybody obviously right now. There's a lot of people contacting me that can't get on for whatever reason. They didn't get the email or whatever they got going on. If somebody contacts you, just let them know. It's on the Facebook page as well. If they go to my Legal Shield Facebook page, Robert Dunbar CDLP trainer, the link is there. They can click the link right there and get right in if they didn't get the email for whatever reason. I pushed it there as well so people can grab it from on Facebook. So I'm gonna go over it, then I'm gonna break it down. So it says, good morning, Mr. and Mrs. Wellness Coordinator. Robert Dunbar here. Thanks for taking the time or taking my call. I contacted you to assist you in adding a wellness program to your directory. As one of your benefits providers, I offer a workshop that works very well as it comes to wellness education. I've done these workshops for a few different accounts that I have. Typically what I do is I provide lunch for the employees in attendance, and I do a will workshop. The employees normally take very well to the idea because they are interested in hearing more about living wills and healthcare power of attorneys, and they don't really know where to get the information from. In today's climate, seeing that we just got past the COVID-19 epidemic, people's minds are really focused on end-of-life documents and making sure that their last love letter to their family is in place. As a wellness coordinator, I'm sure this fits right into your directory or programs. Always assume to sell. We can set this up however you would like. I usually do 2 to 3 different presentations so that all the employees aren't taken away from their duties at the same time. We can do it that way, or if you have a procedure that you normally use, we can work with that. All I need is about 30 to 40 minutes for the will workshop. Do you have an idea when you would like to set this, get this set up? Excuse me, let me back up. Do you have an idea when you would like to set this up to get the best attendance? Great. I'll send you the flyer that you can use to promote the workshop to the employees. I look forward to working with you on this wellness event. Okay, so that's the script. So now I'm gonna kind of tell you why I put this together that way so that it makes sense. So where I contact you to assist you in the wellness program for the directory. Always when you're doing sales, always assume the sale. It's like when I walk in and I do lunch and learns for chiropractic offices and dentist offices. I already know they do lunch and learns. I don't have to ask them, do they do them, because I know they do them. So when I walk in, I normally say, do you guys close during lunch? Because the company that I work with, we only do lunch and learns for companies that close during lunch. And I do that so that I don't have a lunch and leave, if that makes sense. So that's how you want to present that. So here, I'm just saying to them, I contacted you to assist you in adding a wellness program to your directory. So I've got city accounts, I've got county accounts that I literally do will workshops in quarterly. Every 3 months, I'm on their calendar. So for the year 2020, outside of the fact that a lot of my stuff just got moved around because of what's going on, I was already booked 4 times in a lot of my accounts throughout the year. Because as soon as the year came and I booked myself quarterly to go into these companies, and they've got different offices, they got different departments, and they'll have me go in. And now I'm going in and I'm doing that. So the trick with this is this. Well, I shouldn't say the trick, but the technique that'll really help you if it's an account that only allows you to do enrollment once a year. So for those that have those kind of accounts, you know, a lot of times they will tell you, you open enrollment maybe in October, but the memberships don't go in until January 1st. So the effective date will be a month away, 2 months away. With this, the wellness coordinator kind of puts a little bit of pressure on the HR manager to allow them to get the membership now. How do I do that? When I talk to the wellness coordinator, I say, well, because these individuals are going to a will workshop, they'll probably see a lot of value in wanting to get their will done now. That's why they're going to the will workshop, because they're now understanding their membership, or they're picking up the membership so that they can get their will done. God forbid something happens to that person and they don't have their will done because HR didn't let them get their membership until the first of the year when I did a program for them in August. If something happens to them between August and January 1st, now HR is feeling bad because the person couldn't get their will done because they couldn't activate their membership. So normally what the wellness coordinator does is they tell the HR manager, anybody that goes to the will workshop, I'm going to have a sign-in sheet. They'll turn that sign-in sheet to the HR rep, and the HR rep gives those employees X amount of days to turn in an application, and they'll activate them immediately. So that helps you because now they've got, it may be a 30-day window. Now you know when you do your will workshop, any applications that you're going to get them in the next 30 days. So it gives you a timeline of knowing where you're going to get to pick your memberships up on that. So that's one thing. So it says, as one of your benefits providers, I offer a workshop that works well as it comes to wellness education. I've done these workshops in a few different accounts that I have. Typically, what I do is provide lunch for the employees in attendance. Now, you know your budget. You know how many people you can feed. You know the kind of account that you have, whether it's a blue collar account, whether it's a suit and tie account. Everybody that's on this webinar, obviously you're over 18 years old because you're in Legal Shield, but you're an adult, you got to run your business how you run your business. How you represent yourself is how they're going to treat you. So I know that there's a lot of people who do pizza at their different accounts, and if you got an account that takes pizza and they're excited about it, then give them pizza. I mean, you know your accounts better than I do. But try to represent yourself in Legal Shield in a professional manner so that they appreciate you coming through, if that makes sense. And I'm gonna say that way so I don't offend anybody about what you're taking for lunch. So with me, most of my accounts, I go to Zoe's Kitchen, I bring Mediterranean food. I always find very inexpensive things that are high value. It takes a little bit of time to find that, but you run in a business, and if you want your business to have value, you have to put that time into it. So Zoe's Kitchen has Mediterranean food, and I don't go to the catering menu. I get a large dinner. The large dinner is about $40, and it feeds about 10 people. And it gives them chicken roll-ups or shrimp roll-ups. It gives them Greek salad. It gives them pita and hummus. It gives them 2 sides. So if I know I'm feeding 30 people, I might buy 3 orders of that, which is costing me about $150 to feed 30 people. That's not a lot of money to feed people Mediterranean food. So it depends on what your budget is. If you can only afford pizza, then you do whatever do whatever you can. But I'm just telling you, if you're going to buy, and then if you don't want to give them lunch, if you the kind of person that you can go on and pitch this and just don't do lunch, then don't do lunch. That's totally up to you. But when I do my will workshops, I do lunch. In my opinion, people make better decisions when they eat. And when you're doing a workshop for people like workshops, and part of being in a workshop. So if you have to break it down and say, hey, look, I'm gonna do a continental breakfast so that it's not so expensive. When I work on my insurance agents, I do continental breakfast because I split it with them. And I'm only getting overrides in that sense. When I work on my agents, I'm only getting an override. So I'm not the one selling the memberships there. So I'm not gonna spend as much money. So I'm gonna do a continental breakfast and I'm gonna split that with them. So you will see that I kind of changed it into different scripts. So let's look more on the script. So it says, these employees normally take very well to the idea because they are interested in hearing more about living wills and healthcare POAs, but they don't really know where to get the information from, which is a fact. In today's climate, seeing that we just got past COVID-19 epidemic, people's minds are really focused on end-of-life documents and making sure that their last love letter to their family is in place. So again, guys, it's just about mindset. For every gift, there's a curse. Yes or yes? So you know that this situation is pretty bad, but I've got friends in other network marketing companies that can't sell what they sell. Nobody's buying Mary Kay right now. You know what I mean? Like you're not looking to buy face cream and you can't even go outside.
Right.
And people probably can't even ship it to you because a lot of people they won't even ship because of what's going on. So it depends on what you sell. A lot of products can't be sold. So you may work from home, but if you work from home and you sell something that can't sell, you're in a bad situation. We happen to be in a company that in a crisis like this, we can actually make more sales if we take advantage of the situation. So it's like a market crash and being a real estate agent. You got some real estate agents who go under during a market crash, and you get some that get rich. Because if you know how to be a realtor in a bad market, you can make a lot of money. So in Legal Shield, you can make money in this crisis if you work it correctly. But you have to work it correctly. So we don't want to sell with a scare tactic. So it's very important to understand that, because I see a lot of Facebook stuff that I haven't commented on. I see a lot of Instagram stuff that I haven't commented on, because I try to keep some of my stuff to myself, because everybody don't always like my comments. But I try to get people to understand being an entrepreneur. And you can't scare people into sales, because you're going to regret it later on, especially when you offer a product that does not have a contract. So people can get online right now and scare the crap out of people and get them to buy Legal Shield, but you're going to find out 5 months from now, they're going to be complaining about not being able to do a performance club trip because their persistency is low. Because you scare people, they get it, and then the crisis go away, and then they drop it. So you have to show them the value of what they're buying, not just sell it to them because we're in a bad climate. Because if you sell it based on a bad situation, then they'll end their membership when the situation goes away. So it's important. So reason why I worded this way, in today's climate, saying that we got past the COVID-19 epidemic, people's minds are focused on end-of-life documents. People are going to be thinking, because it's not a reality to people. I may die early, things can happen. People don't believe that, even though they see it on the news every day. But when something like this happens, then we see thousands of people die at all ages, all races, all over the world. People start thinking, you know what? Things can happen that I'm not ready for. So let me go ahead and get this will in place, because it's only going to cost me $25 to have this membership. So now their frame of mind changed, and we have to look at their frame of mind and use that. And that wellness coordinator is thinking that as well. That's their job as a wellness coordinator. It's the wellness of the employees that work there. So why would you not bring in a workshop about end-of-life documents when a crisis just happened like this? It's the same way schools bring in therapeutic people when a school shooting happens or anything happens, because that's what you do. You put people in programs so that they get better after that circumstance. Does that make sense to everybody? So that's why it's worded that way. So moving on to the next paragraph, it's got, as a wellness coordinator, I'm sure this fits right into the directory of programs. We can set this up however you would like. I always give people options so that they don't feel like I'm kind of just running their show. I always control the conversation, but I want them to feel like they're in control. Everybody follow that? So just keep that in mind. Part of sales is control the conversation by giving people options, but make sure the options that you give them fit into your schedule, so that you really still are in control of it. So we can set this up however you would like. I usually do 2 to 3 different presentations so that all the employees are taken away from their duties at the same time. So I have some companies that I'll go in and I'll do a 9 o'clock, an 11 o'clock, or 1 o'clock. If I'm only doing 30 or 40-minute presentations, then I can do a 10, 11, a 12, however you're going to do it. But now if they got 150 employees and they're pulling 50 at a time and putting them in there, now they've got 100 people working, 50 in the workshop. 100 people working, 50 in the workshop. And now they're okay with that, because you're only there for 3 hours. And then if you add setup time, maybe, setup and breakdown, maybe 4 hours. But you see 150 people in that 4 hours. So it's giving you a chance to really see everybody, and you spend a half a day there with your client. So the next thing it says is we can do it that way, or if you have a procedure that you normally use, we can work with that. All I need is about 30 to 40 minutes to do for the will workshop. Do you have an idea when you would like to set this up to get the best attendance? Because the wellness coordinator, the HR rep, they know when to get the best attendance. So always let them make that decision on when you're going to be able to get the best attendance, because that's what's going to let you know that everything is working the way that it needs to work, and you get the best rate. So great. I'll send you the flyer that you can promote the workshop to the employees. I look forward to working with you on this wellness event. So with my accounts, I send them the flyer, but I also make copies of the flyer at home, and I take them copies because it depends on the company. I don't want them to make crappy copies. I don't want them to make black and white copies. I don't want them to feel like I'm using their copy machine and their resources for me to do a workshop. So it depends on what my relationship is with that company, how I do that. But most of the time, I will make the copies because I have a printer at home. I'll make the copies and I'll stop by there and I'll give them copies of the flyer. And this flyer that I'm telling you about that you can use, that's the flyers that I have on Canva. So if you're saying, hey, I've got one set up I want to do, just email me or text me and say, hey, could you shoot me the Canva information, and I'll go ahead and shoot it over, and then then you'll be good on it. So that's pretty much how that works. So let me check real quick on this chat and make sure that. Okay, so does anybody have any questions about that script? Anything that they may have missed on it? Hold on one second. All right, so I'm allowing people to unmute themselves real quick if they have a question about that script. Does anybody have any questions about that script that's on? Going once? Going twice? All right, good stuff. I'm making it real easy. I love it. All right, so I'm gonna move to the next script, and the next script is gonna be the GA professional seller script, and I'm going to, let me see. Sorry guys, I'm trying to find this the right script here. All right, there we go. You guys see that? All right, so this script is for the professional sellers. So when I'm working with the professional sellers, a lot of times what I found working with insurance agents and stuff is they didn't want to give me their contact list or their book of business. They didn't, and their main issue seemed to be, I don't want to turn over my book of business to you or start introducing them to Legal Shield at that time, because what they felt like was if Legal Shield didn't work for their client may cancel their insurance if the program bothers them for some reason. They don't like it, they get upset, they don't want to lose their client, their insurance side of the client because of our product. So I used to run into that a lot with the insurance agents. So I started doing it this way. So I'll read through this script real quickly, and then I'll kind of break it down a little bit. So it says, good morning, Mr. and Mrs. Professional Seller, Robert Dunbar here. Thanks for taking my call. I contacted you about setting up a client appreciation day to educate your clientele on end-of-life documents and making sure that their last love letter to their family is in place. I offer these workshops for my professional sellers, general agents, and they work pretty well. Typically what we do is provide lunch for however many of your clients will be in attendance, and I do a will workshop while you network with your clients. The clients normally take very well to the idea because they are interested in hearing more about living wills and healthcare power of attorneys, but they don't really know where to get the information from. In today's climate, seeing that we just got past COVID-19 epidemic, people's minds are really focused on end-of-life documents, same as the other one, right? Now, this is how we set it up. Send an email this is what you're telling the agent. You're gonna set up an email that I'll prepare for your book of business. So you're gonna write the email out yourself and send it to that broker, that agent. You write the email out, and then attached to the email will be the flyer that we talked about. So I have a specific flyer for agents. So they're gonna attach that flyer with an invite, and it's gonna be for an appreciation day for their client base. We do this about 90 days in advance. The good thing about an insurance agent's book of business, let's say they got 500 clients on the books. When they send that out, I promise you guys, they're only going to get a bit, maybe 10%, 15% of their clients are going to come to it. So they can keep doing them to get the rest of their clients. So you're not going to get them all at once, that's for sure. We'll split the cost of the hotel for the event unless they already have a room. So some agents and brokers will have a room big enough for their clients to come to. If they don't, you need to get something squared away. So talk to your local leadership in the marketplace. They've got some hotel that they're already using to do events. Ladies of Justice, or they're doing their network meetings. Talk to them, let them know you need to use a room for an hour or two. I would say 2 hours at most, and then see if they can get you a good deal. Normally, you can get a room for less than $150. A lot of marketplaces, you can get one for about $100, especially if it's a small room and you already have a relationship in the marketplace. And then you want to do like continental breakfast or lunch. Typically speaking, I do continental breakfast because it costs less, and I'm splitting the cost with the agent. So if the room was $150 and I spent another $100 on continental breakfast, so now you're talking about $250. So you and the agent are doing $125 and $125. That's not that bad. Now, depending on what level you are on Legal Shield, whether you override your insurance agents, that's something you're going to have to look at on your comp plan. Everybody's situation is going to be different. But keep in mind as you're building your business and you're working with agents. Working with agents is about building your business up. So you're not always going to override from an agent. But even though you don't override, those are organizational organizational premium dollars that are getting you to the next level. So just keep that in mind. So you have to always look at your business building in that manner, because I've run into a lot of people who say, I don't want to work with an agent because when they sell, I don't make anything. And guess what? When you run in a business, every aspect of your business is not going to always be making money for you.
That's right.
Some aspects are making money for you. Some aspects of your business are actually maintaining, while other places are making money. And some places are making enough money to fund the places that aren't making money. So that's just part of being a business owner. So understand, if you're not at the senior director level or executive director level, then those premium dollars organizationally that are coming in from that agent, they're getting you to that level, so that you can override everybody else. And remember, when you get to that level based on their activity, you're not only overriding them, you're overriding everybody else on your team that's not at that level. So the money can be made there. You just have to keep in mind that sometimes you gotta do some grinding kind of in the ditch before you can get there, if you're not already at that level. So just keep that in mind there. So as we move down the script, so on the bottom of this script is really for you as an associate. So I have psychology for the associate. The idea here is to be the legal department for your professional seller, general agency, or your brokerage. You are the go-to for their client who wants their will done or need the legal services. Your general agent, professional seller, or brokerage should be utilizing you as the department that handles the legal and non-identity theft services. Keep in mind that your general agent, professional seller, and or broker is used to making a significant amount of money per sale in their primary industry. When you all contact their book of business and get, theoretically speaking, 20 or 30 people in a room, they can get a good compensation hit if about 15 clients sign up. And if you look at the math on that, they're looking at about $1,700 on that deal. So with about 15 people signing up. And what's important about this is they're getting that on one hit. So they're doing an event for 2 hours. Their clients that are already on their books are now signing up for Legal Shield, right? Not identity theft, because I'm not doing an identity theft workshop right now, just the will workshop. So that's why I only got 115. If 15 clients sign up for that membership, they're making about $1,700 by doing that add-on. And they're not doing any of the work. So you always have to keep the frame of mind that you're working for your insurance agent, you're working for that brokerage, you're working for that professional seller. So if Tilly's was the agent that I was working with, then I would tell her ahead of time, hey, always refer to me as your legal and identity theft department. I'm a new arm of your insurance agency. So that's what she tells her clients. If a client calls her and says, hey, I went to that workshop you had the other day, and me and my husband and wife are interested in getting the membership, like, how do I get that set up? She's not supposed to be on her computer trying to figure out how to enroll that new client. she's supposed to be called saying, hey, let me give you the phone number to the people that handle that department of my insurance agency. And then they give the information for me, and then that client calls me. Or they say, I'm going to have my department give you a call. They'll call you in about 5 or 10 minutes. And then that insurance agent is going to call me and say, hey, one of my clients just called me about the will workshop. Can you give them a call? And then I'm going to call that client, and I'm going to enroll that client for that agent. You're not going to have to do that forever. But you're doing that in the beginning because you're earning their trust. You're earning, you know what I mean, their business. And remember, they opened up their book of business to you. So because they opened up their book of business to you, that's what you're doing. You're earning their trust and all those other things. So that's why you want to do it that way. So keep that model running. If you do that with your agents, if you got a bunch of agents and you put some time into doing it, you'll look at your calendar and you'll realize you got a bunch lined up. And you can alternate these guys. Right now we're talking about a will workshop because of what's going on. This is what this webinar is for. But I promise you, if you do, you can alternate them. So you can say, okay, January 13th, we're going to do a will workshop. With 90 days later, you can do an identity theft workshop. And then 90 days later, you can go back and do another will workshop because you didn't get all of your clients on the first will workshop. You only got probably less than 20% of them. So you can set those up throughout the year with different agents with their book of business. And now you're constantly doing workshops for your agents. And if you're doing workshops for your personal accounts and for your agents, now you've got a bunch of workshops going on. And that's really about you just having somewhere to go, somewhere to be, and people to present in front of. To get memberships throughout the year, because that's what you want. You want to be getting memberships throughout the year the entire time. So that's how that's supposed to work. So you guys have that script. So let me move to another script here. Let me see.
CDLP.
Trying to get this. All right. Yeah, 1 second. Oh, you know what? Let me check something too before I do that. Sorry about that. Anybody have any questions about that? Let me check real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody have any questions about the script that we just went over?
Mm-hmm.
Going once? Going twice? All right, good. Good audience, good audience. I like it. Oh, wait a minute.
You're going to be sending the scripts to us in our emails also, is that correct?
Yeah, I'm gonna send the scripts to you via email. You're gonna get through MailChimp, and it's gonna be a link that you click, and it's gonna open them up. But you have to open it up within like between 5 and 7 days, because that link is going like trying to crash on you. It's like 007, so you know it's gonna crash on you. I promise you. So you gotta open it up. But now, and then it's in the chat, so the files are there. So you really can grab them right there if you want to. And
Robert, there's people in the waiting room, just so you know. You might want to let them in.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Yeah, obviously I don't do a lot of these, so I don't know that. Okay, so how does that work?
There should be a button that tells you people waiting in the room.
Now you're making me feel bad, Juan. I've been over here for like 40 minutes and there's people waiting in the waiting room. I feel horrible. I feel like a doctor not taking care of my patients. That is so bad. Oh my goodness. I apologize to people that was waiting. I'm a horrible host. Somebody else does this to me. That's so bad. I feel so bad. I gotta pray afterwards. Thank you, Miss Juana.
You're welcome. I've been trying to get your attention, man. I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness. I don't know what happened there. That's just bad.
So funny.
How you doing? You good? All right. So here I'm having a problem with this this bar is like in my way. So I'm trying to get to my other script, and the this little, oh, here we go. All right. So this is for the lounge. You guys can see that?
Yeah, I have a quick question on the last one you did.
Uh-huh.
When you were talking about the you know, the department handling that. So you're basically saying when you're doing the presentation, the insurance agent will introduce you as another extension of his business, right?
Absolutely. That
Okay.
insurance agent is not doing anything in the room but sitting down, shaking his client's hands, talking to him, kicking it, networking. He's like another one of the clients. Everything is supposed to be about me setting it up and doing everything. So really, that guy is just kind of hanging out with his clients.
Okay.
And he's introducing me as, hey, look, I just started a new department in my insurance agency simply because I've had a lot of clients who have questioned me about getting wills done, and I normally send you to an attorney friend of mine at a discounted rate. So I found a way to add a department to my insurance agency where now, for just just kind of a bump in your premium, you can get your will done, and then some other things, and then Mr. Dunbar is going to talk about that during the. You see what I mean? So that's kind of what I do for that, and that really does, it helps. It's a lot better for people, and it takes all the weight off the professional seller. And what you want to do with them in the beginning, it's like a belief check on the network marketing side. You won't get people to really work the business until they get a belief check. And it don't have to be a lot of money. It just needs to be something to know that, okay, they're actually going to pay me. This is not a scam. So that insurance agent gets a hit, and they make $1,700 on that will workshop with their client booklet. Now they're thinking to themselves, okay, I just paid $125 and spent 2 hours. That guy did everything, and I just made $1,700. He's not going to have a problem with setting up the next workshop for you.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And again, if 15 memberships are being sold at $24.95, that's $25 times 15 in organizational premium dollars that you just received. If you're not at a level when you're getting overrides. You see what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So people got to look at that. You got to look at you building the business, and that's all part of it. And remember, you know, it all kind of falls into place on that. So this script right here is going to be beneficial for those who are working if you got any transportation companies, because with them, I'm working with them still, like right now. Like I said, just last week I was in. So I know some of y'all are not going out. I'm not telling people to go out if you don't want to go out. But if you're still out there working, I'm telling you, the truckers, they still out there moving around. So I'm still working with my truck drivers. So here you will see the script says, good morning, Mr. and Mrs. Safety Manager, Robert Dunbar here. Thanks for taking my call or for seeing me if you actually did a site visit, right? I contacted you to see whether or not you've got the drivers hanging around the aisle or in the lounge this week. As one of your providers, and if you notice, I said here, providers, not benefits. Because when I'm working with truck drivers and trucking companies, I don't ever call Legal Shield a benefit because I don't ever want to talk to HR. We strictly go bank draft with these guys. Most of us do. So it's just provider. So as one of your providers that offers a specific product concerning their commercial driver's license, in the life documents, and the ability to speak with an attorney to answer questions concerning COVID-19. I've done these lounge meetings for a few other transportation companies, and I work with that I work with, and it's been pretty successful. Typically, what I do is provide coffee and bagels from Panera Bread. Use whatever you would like. I'm just telling you, I know Panera Bread is pretty much everywhere. Know that on Tuesdays, if you didn't already know that, on Tuesdays, you can go to Panera Bread and get a dozen of bagels and 2 tubs of cream cheese for about $14 on Tuesdays. They've been doing that for years. And then you can have them slice the bagels, and now you got 24. So if you get 2 bags, you got 48 sliced bagels, 4 tubs of cream cheese for about $28.
Wow.
So you know what I mean? Yeah, and they've been doing that. They've been doing that forever, and they do it at all of them, anywhere in the country. So definitely take advantage of that. So I do that. You can take those bagels and that cream cheese, get some coffee, because them truck drivers, that's all they need. You don't got to get no lunch for them. You could do bagels, cream cheese, and coffee, and they'll be happy campers. So that's where I would leave that with the lounge meeting, and that's probably the most inexpensive way that you can do it, unless you got some local place that you know of that you could do it cheaper. It says, typically what I do is provide coffee and bagels from Panera Bread and use whatever place you would like, or use whatever place you would like. And I speak with the drivers on a one at a time or in small groups if possible. So in a lounge meeting, guys, what's going to happen is you're going to have some truck drivers in the yard talking. You're going to have some that are inside the lounge, depending on how big the lounge is. You do that however you do that. You can talk to them one at a time, or you can just say, hey, can I get a couple of y'all at one time so I can kind of won't have to do so many little presentations. And the truck drivers, they'll come around and they'll talk. They'll listen. And you could do a small like wheel workshop. But you guys gotta learn how to be intimate with this. Like it doesn't always have to be this complicated workshop. Like I'm gonna give you guys a PowerPoint, but I promise you, unless I'm at a church, I really don't even use the PowerPoint anymore. I'm just being honest with you. So for those that have gone to my live trainings, I do a lot of live wheel workshop trainings behind my CDLP training. I haven't done any this year, but last year I probably did about 25 of them. I do not use the PowerPoint. That's for you to learn. Once you learn how to do it, it's better to just go freelance it and do it and engage with your audience because it's more realistic. People are more in touch with you and you'll get more people to enroll and see the value in it than to go through a PowerPoint. It's just gonna be better for you to do it. It's just, you just do it in an unscripted manner. So I really don't use the PowerPoint, but I will send it to you all so that you guys can flip through the PowerPoint and see what you need to be doing. But let's just take some time to practice that so you can do it on your own. So where am I at? My conversation with them is concerning whether or not they have their end-of-life documents taken care of. And also, I ask if they have any personal or financial situations that were caused due to COVID-19 epidemic. So this is a great time if you got guys that have a CDL membership from you to upgrade them into the family plan. Why? Because you cannot ask questions. There is no consultation and advice on a CDL membership. They cannot pick up the phone and just ask questions. So if they've got COVID-19 questions, anything concerning that, they can't call the CDLP law firm for that. But they can call the family plan. And typically speaking, it's going to be a personal issue anyway. So they're going to want to have their personal attorney. So it's a great way to go ahead and upgrade them now. And if it's a group account, you can upgrade them $18.95 for the family plan. If it's just an individual driver, $24.95 for the family plan. So it's a great time to be able to do that. So I talk about that when I'm at that lounge meeting. I make it clear to the company and to the driver that if their legal concern is with the transportation company they were working for, then we won't be able to assist them per the amendment. So make sure that if you're talking about a group account, if their COVID-19 questions are concerned in the fact that they're a truck driver and they're getting fired, you can't help them. So just don't make sure you don't get caught up in that. So just make sure you know your client and your circumstance when it comes to that. The drivers normally take very well to the idea because they are interested in hearing more about the wills and healthcare power of attorney, same language. I've gotten the other two, but they don't really know where to get the information from. Besides, they are also on the road. In today's climate with this COVID-19 epidemic, truckers' minds are really focused on end-of-life documents and making sure that their last love letter to their family is in place. They really do also have questions concerning the virus, as we all do, but the difference is they are in control of a commercial vehicle and they don't need that distraction. So I have that in that script because that's going to be important for that safety manager to hear. And obviously I said virus, I'm probably saying COVID-19. So that's why I said that. So the bottom of that script, it says, do you have an idea of when you would like us to set this up to get the most drivers? Great. I'll send you the flyer that you can use to let the drivers know what day I'll be in the lounge with the coffee and bagels. I look forward to seeing you all and helping as much as I can. So that's pretty much that script. So let me go ahead and stop this share so I can see if anybody has any. Oh, look at that, 4 waiting again. Thank you, Ms. Wine.
I got your back.
Only gonna make a fool out of me once. I got you. So let me see. Anybody have any questions? Participants. Okay, so if you need to unmute yourself to ask a question, go ahead. I see you, Diane Kephart. You do baked chicken and salads and food. I can't cook, so. Anybody have any questions? Go on once. Go on twice. All right. Okay, so the PowerPoint in these scripts, and there's some other things, some other PDFs that's going to come along with the PowerPoint as well. That is going to show you how to go through a will workshop. So what you're going to want to do with that is really go through it a few times, and it's a lot of slides, guys. You don't have to use all the slides. I tell people this all the time. I have everything in there because I do PowerPoints all the time, and every time I do them, people tell me that, oh, you should have added this, you should have added that, and then they go add it themselves and they mess my PowerPoint up, and I take it personal. So I'll put everything in there. So now everything is in there. You ain't got to worry about it. Whatever you don't want to use, just hide it yourself. All you got to do is hide the slides yourself if you don't want it in there. But I put everything inside the slideshow so that everybody can just have everything they need. There's going to be language in there. So what I tell people about the PowerPoint side of it is you have to flip through it and see what you want to talk about. So I've narrowed it down to this because some PowerPoint, sometimes they want me to do it in a short amount of time, and I got tired of moving things around. Oh, hold on. Got somebody trying to get in here. I got to fix that because that waiting room thing, I don't like that. I don't want to be checking no waiting room. I got to go on my settings and fix that. So when you're doing, so I got my things narrowed down to a couple of different things. So I do flip through probably about 15 slides on my PowerPoint for visual. It's truly for visual. But really, I use two major stories, and I make the stories emotional so that the people really can engage with me, and then I bring the crowd into it. Now, depending on the size of the group that you have, you have to narrow it down based on that. Typically speaking, what I do, there's a part in the PowerPoint that's going to go into healthcare power of attorney. So what happens when somebody can't make medical decisions for themselves and they haven't gotten the healthcare power of attorney? Well, it's just like a regular will. There's something in place. You might not like it. So you might want to have a healthcare power of attorney so that doesn't happen. So what I normally do is during my will workshop, I'll say, I need some volunteers. And I'll get some people to say, okay, I'll volunteer. So I say, I need a mother, I need a wife, I need a daughter, and I need a father. So I'm basically getting 4 volunteers to come up front. And this really does well because it gets people engaged, and people are watching their coworkers or, wherever kind of place you at, church members or wherever you're doing this at. They will engage with them because they're playing this role in front of the room. And they really do get into it most of the time. Every now and then you get a couple of dry people, but most of the time they really get into it and have fun, because the people who volunteer for that kind of stuff, they typically volunteer because they like to do that kind of stuff. So they will be kind of active with it. So what I do is I bring them up and I kind of set the stage and I say, look, here's what I'm gonna do. And I have fun with it. I always joke and I laugh with them so that, it's a little bit fun, because I used to be really serious with it and people will be crying. And you want to be careful. Like, I want it to be emotional, but I don't want it to be so emotional that people crying instead of signing memberships. Like, don't lose your membership trying to make people cry. This is not an Oprah Winfrey show. So just keep in mind, you want people to be emotional enough to sign the application, but you don't want them boo-hooing and they like, like they can't even make a financial decision right now. So I make jokes. So when I call the people up and I say, okay, who's going to be my mom? Who's going to be my wife? Who's going to be my daughter? The weirdest thing happens when I do that. Like, nobody ever wants to be my wife. Everybody's always like, because I guess the ladies think if they say they want to be my wife, I think they like me or something. I don't know. So they just kind of, everybody's like, I'll be the mother, I'll be the daughter. And then somebody gets stuck being my wife, right? So I put them next. I put my wife next to me, my daughter in between us, and then my father and my mother on the other side of the room. And I start the story by saying, I'm originally from Buffalo, New York, and my parents still live in Buffalo, New York. And actually, my father's passed at this point, but my parents still live in Buffalo, New York. And I'll say, so me and my wife and my daughter, we got our own household. We make a decent amount of money. We both make 6 figures a year. And we got a really good insurance policy in place. And we know we've already had a conversation in our household. And the conversation that we've had in our household is that if something happens to her, we've got it written out on the healthcare power of attorney that if she doesn't get off the breathing machine in 6 months, then I have the ability to pull the plug. Whether I do that or not is up to me, but I have the ability to do that, and vice versa. That's the agreement that we have in our household. We don't need to check with our parents because this is not their household. So that's the agreement that we have. Well, lo and behold, I don't make it home from work one day. And the day I don't make it home from work, I'm in the hospital and there's a whole lot going on. And what's going on in my household? My daughter's not seeing her dad. I'm not doing the stuff that I normally do with her because I'm in a coma in the hospital. My wife is taking care of everything at the house that we both normally take care of. So not only is my wife stressed out because she's trying to handle everything, she's concerned about what's going to happen with money, right? And we got, and then again, we all adults, I say, and then obviously a woman's got needs and I'm in the hospital and she ain't getting those needs met. Now, I don't say that in church. So don't say that in the church, y'all. Be careful. That's only for companies. So, so that's the scenario, right? So in this scenario that we've got going on, I'm setting the tone so that people are kind of feeling like, okay, I understand this. I understand where you guys are coming from with this. So I give them this scenario and I just kind of trump it up and I'm saying, look, now my mother and father are flying back and forth from Buffalo to Florida, but we got a problem because my mom is like, okay, you can pull the plug in 6 months. Like, you're not about to kill my son about no money, right? Because we got an insurance policy in place that's going to pay out $1 million. And my mother is thinking, you ain't about to pull the plug in 6 months about no $1 million. You better go get you a boyfriend or something on the side because you got to figure this out because you ain't killing my son, right? So I'm giving these examples and I'm like, so now we've got my mother and my wife arguing. My daughter is saying this. I'm in a hospital. They all showing up to the hospital. And what's happening in the hospital? My mother and my wife are being funny with each other. My daughter realizes this. And what does my daughter think? I want to side with my mom because that's my mom. But what her grandmother is saying makes sense. Because you know what mama's saying? Mama's saying that publicly. You about to kill my son about some money. And what is my daughter thinking? Why is my mother going to kill my father about money? Because that doesn't, to a 10-year-old, that doesn't make sense to her. Everybody understand that? Yes and yes? So when you create this scenario, now people are seeing this is what's really going on. And the life documents aren't done. Healthcare power of attorney isn't done. Now we got a situation where I'm laying in the hospital. There's $1 million to gain if the plug is put. My daughter is starting to struggle a little bit because what she normally has, she doesn't have. My wife is stressed out because she's thinking about having to pull the plug. She's not able to pay for certain things that she want to pay for. I haven't been home. She's thinking about she's going to lose her husband. So it's a lot of stress going on. And in the process of all of this, the time is starting to get close to 6 months and my wife has to make a decision. So now my wife says, she makes a decision. My wife makes a decision and she says, okay, I got to sit down with his mom and let her know that I'm going to pull the plug. When I get to that point of my presentation, I say to the audience, I said, doesn't it make more sense? Wouldn't it be easier for my wife to have a conversation about this pulling the plug if there's a healthcare power of attorney in place and she can say, Miss Dunbar, I know that you don't like what's going on, but your son put this in place so that something happened to him that his wife and his daughter can be taken care of. Like, that's how you raised him. Like, he's doing this based on the kind of man he is, and you should appreciate that. This is his last, this is what he asked us to do. This is not me doing this for money. This is him putting this in place, and he put the insurance policy in place so that if this happened, that we would be okay. Now, my mother still may not be 100% okay with the scenario, but she will certainly take it better when there's a healthcare power of attorney that my wife can put in her face and show her, as opposed to it looking like my wife is just some gold-digging woman who just gonna pull the plug because she wants the money. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that scenario kind of goes along well. So when I do that, the people sit down and you capture a certain part of the audience when you do that because that resonates with them. So that's one of the stories that I give in front of the room. Instead of going through all these slides, giving all these bullet points and boom, 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 boom. Hold on. I got some people in the waiting room. World is going on. Oh, Lord have mercy. Hold on. Close.
You're doing a great job, Robert. Thank you.
I'm doing a great job. I appreciate that. Because this is like too much for me. I cannot multitask. I know men act like they can, but we cannot. So if you tell your husband he can't multitask, you are 100% right, because we don't know what the heck we're doing. I do one thing at once, and I'm bad at that. So hold on. Why am I not getting, what happened to my little box here? I done closed the poor people out. Lord have mercy. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Get these people in here. That's in the weight room.
You are cracking us up tonight.
I'm
I
telling you.
love the Lord have mercy.
Yes, indeed.
Oh. Because I feel so bad for the people. These people I'm ignoring people. They texting me. They've been texting me since 9:20. I ain't even looked at my phone. Started calling me names and everything. I don't even want to look at my direct. I don't want to look at my DM or nothing after this. People are cursing me. Okay, so I think I got it.
You're
Okay.
just gonna have to do another training.
Well, what I did do that, because I did lie to everybody. I told everybody I wasn't going to record it, and I did. So I am going, I did, and I lied to everybody because I wasn't going to record it, but then Sharanda showed me how to, so I did record it. So here we go. Here we go. So I do that first. I do that one first, and that kind of gets some people caught into the kind of the emotional part of it. And then the next one I do is I do two more. One is for churches, so I'm gonna do the one for the church last. So if you're not doing the church, you don't want to do that one particularly. Let me see. I'm trying to figure out how I want to set this up so that I don't do, because I take a little bit longer when I do it in person. I don't want to take that long. So let me do this. So when I'm at a church, part of the PowerPoint that you're gonna see when you open up the PowerPoint is that part of the catch for a church, guys, is that I let the pastor know that I'm going to talk about tithing 10% with their will. Does that make sense? That always gets the pastor's attention, because what they're thinking is, if they put 10% of their will in the church, that helps the church. So that encourages the pastor a little bit more about to let me in, because there's a gain for him on there. So I do mention that, and it is in the PowerPoint, and it is in the letter that I write to the pastor. So when I send you the PowerPoint, you're gonna have a letter to the pastor, and this is what I put in there so that they understand that that's a part of what I'm doing. So when I go in and do that presentation, I set this up a specific way. So I'm going through the PowerPoint, and then it says, hey, there's some options that you can do in your will. So let's say you're saying, look, I don't want to bother with all of this stuff. Like, I just want to have it like where it's regular. Like, my stuff is going to go to people based on this percentage, because I don't want to get into all that stuff. That's a choice that you can make. So there's an option A, there's an option B, and this is in a PowerPoint. And then there's an option C. And the option C is you can leave everything to the church, or you can leave a percentage to the church. So you may choose, I'm going to leave 10% to the church. So I say that. And I always watch, I look at the body language. I always look at the congregation when I'm saying that. And some of them looking in the air, some of them looking cross-eyed. Because they thinking, I ain't leaving 10% to this church. That's what they think, right? So then I got to make them, hey, especially if the pastor not in there. The pastor not there, they be looking crazy. So I'm just telling you. So I always watch the body language so I know where to go with that. So I say, so now tell them a story. So let me tell you a story. I say, so everybody got a person in their family that they, that person is just like, everybody knows that this is the person in the family that borrow money, they don't pay nobody back. Like, they just a knucklehead in the family. They never get fired, they always get laid off. Their cars never repoed, they always get stolen. The kids behind 3 grades, they move every month. Y'all got somebody. Now, if you ain't got nobody in your family like that, then you probably the one. You probably the one that you.
Oh, Lord, today.
I know what's going on. Oh, let me admit these people. Y'all in the waiting room late. Y'all showing up to a meeting when it's supposed to be over. What time is it? 10:37? Y'all just not coming. Y'all should be ashamed of yourself. Y'all should be glad I'm recording this webinar. So when I'm talking to the congregation, I tell them this. I say, look, you got this person in your family, and everybody raise their hand, and they start thinking about whoever that is. I said, so you get a phone call, and let's just, it's Uncle Willie, for the sake of the conversation. So Uncle Willie calls you, and he says, man, I just got a job where you live at, wherever you live at, right? I live in Jacksonville, Florida. I got a job in Jacksonville, Florida, and I start the job next month, and I got to find a house out there. So can I stay at your house for a couple of weeks while I'm looking for a place to stay? And I'm looking at y'all. Ain't number 6 y'all up here in the window. I'm looking at y'all face. Your Uncle Willie ain't coming to stay at your house. So you think, like, do you let Uncle Willie stay at the house? Now you gotta have your family meeting. You gotta figure out whether you're gonna do it or not. So you says Uncle Willie can come to the house. Now y'all know what's gonna happen when he come to the house. So he had Uncle Willie at the house. He done came to your house. He's supposed to be getting a job in a month. He's supposed to be looking for a place to stay. He ain't doing none of that. What he doing? You get home from work, he on the couch. Your kids can't even watch their cartoons when they get out of school because this fool watch the ESPN. He ain't took a shower in 2 days. Your kids go to school with the lunchbox over their lunchbox. He done bit their sandwich. He eating all the snacks. Ain't no goldfish for the kids. So you got all this stuff going on at the house. You upset. You arguing with your spouse. Y'all trying to figure out how y'all gonna get Uncle Willie at the house. Now you get a phone call from somebody in the family that say, you know Uncle Willie hit the lottery. And you say, no, he. Now you know you embarrassed that he at your house. You ain't gonna tell him he at your house. You say, no, he didn't. He hit the lottery. He said, no, yes, he did hit the lottery. Somebody just told me. And you thinking this fool at my house, eating up all my food, he hit the lottery? So you know you don't want to believe it. So you ask some details. They say, yeah, you know, he hit the lottery. You know that girl he was staying with? He told her to hold the money and she left. She disappeared. So now it's starting to make sense. That's why Uncle Willie at your house. So now you meet with your spouse because y'all need to have a family meeting because y'all got to figure out what to do with Uncle Willie now. So y'all go to Uncle Willie and y'all say, hey, look, you gotta go. Like you done brought your crazy behind over here, eating up all our food, sleeping on our couch, stinking up the living room, telling us you got a job, you looking for somewhere to stay, you've been here for 3 weeks, ain't nothing going on, and now we find out you hit the lottery for $100,000, you done gave the money to some woman, she done disappeared, you ain't done nothing for us, we taking care of you, you eating in our house for free, you gotta go. How many of y'all gonna do that? That's what I asked the audience. Now they in church now, and they still say yeah. They in church talking about they ain't gonna look out for their own uncle. Going to hell. So they raise their hand and they say, they ain't looking out for their uncle. That's what they say, right? So I say, okay, so let's switch this up a little bit. I say, so you go to church. You go to church every week, and one day you don't make it home. Wow. You don't make it home. So, you know, we know we all think we going. So, you know, you ever wake up in the morning and you really tired, you wake up, but you don't really wake up. Like you get up, but you don't open your eyes. You ever wake up and not open your eyes? You lay there, you just think like, if I don't open my eyes, I ain't gotta get up, right? So you lay there. So that's what you're doing. So you don't make it home from work and you laying there. So now you're thinking to myself, I don't know whether I'm in heaven or hell. You don't even want to open your eyes. You trying to figure out whether you're hot or cold. You figure if you're cold, you ain't in hell, right? So that's how so you just laying there. And while you're laying there, you're trying to figure this all out. You feeling around like this. You're trying to figure out whether you're on a cloud, whether you're on something hot. You don't know what's going on. So you finally you open up your eyes, and it's just space. All you see is space, right? You get up and you look, and you're saying like, hey, you know, where's everybody at? So you just start walking, and way up ahead you see pearly gates. And you like this. I did it. I'm in the right place. So you go over to the gates and you look in and you peeking in the gate and you seeing all the stuff you saw on the bottom. You seeing the streets of gold. You seeing people flying around. You seeing some people in there that you think they're supposed to be in there. You like, am I in the right place? Right? So now the ground is shaking and God walking up to the pearly gates. He get to the gates. You're waiting for him to open up the gates. You say, hey, you gonna open up the gates? He said, wait a minute, I got some questions. You said, what questions? I'm already up here. What are you gonna ask me some questions for? If I'm up here, I must be good. Could you please just open up this gate? Right? And God said, no, I got some questions for you. He said, what happened with Uncle Willie? And you said, what you mean what happened with Uncle Willie? He said, your uncle that came in your house, what happened? He said, man, let me tell you about this fool. He said, this man hit the lottery, gave the money to some girl he wasn't even married to. She left with the money, disappeared. He lied to me, came to my house, stayed at my house for free, ate my food up, didn't give me no money, and then got upset when I put him out. And God said, So God say, so let me ask you a question. He say, what you do with all the stuff I gave you? And he say, what stuff? He said, you know, I gave you a beautiful wife, beautiful kids. They had no problems. You did a good job. Went to a good school. You never had no problems. You know, you was good financially. You kind of had a blessed life. Bank account full of money. So what you did with all that stuff when you left? He said, wait a minute now. I know I was about to die. I was driving home from work. He said, I ain't asked you that. God said, I ain't asked you that. I asked you what you did with your stuff. He said, well, I didn't do nothing with it because I didn't have a chance to do nothing with it. Like, I didn't know I was going to die. He said, so you telling me that you didn't do no will, you didn't leave nothing to the church? You ain't leave nothing to none of the people, none of my belief. You just left your stuff out there. So really anybody got your stuff right now. You don't even know who got that stuff. And you say, come on now, God, you playing games. Now, I don't know where you're going with this. I don't know what you're looking for, but I'm just telling you, I didn't know I was going to go. So God said, well, what should I do? And you say, what you mean, what should I do? He said, what should I do? What should I do with you? I mean, because you're telling me you don't know what you did with the stuff. I mean, should I let you up here or not? And you say, I'm already up here. I did everything I'm supposed to be doing because I left my stuff. What you mean you don't know what to do with me? He said, well, wait a minute now. Well, what you do to Uncle Willie? He said, no, Uncle Willie, a different situation. He said, no, he ain't in a different situation. He said, because I gave you a whole bunch of stuff. And you just gave all my stuff to somebody you don't even know who it went to. That same thing you said your uncle did, right?
Oh, wow.
And then you telling me that your uncle came to your house, slept on your couch, ate all your food up, and wasn't paying no bills. And he said, now you asking me, can you come in here and stay here for the rest of your life? You ain't gonna pay for nothing. You're gonna eat every day. And everything I gave you down here, you took all that stuff and just let it go somewhere else because you ain't doing no will. And you ain't even leave 10% to the church. And you know the church is my wife, right?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And he said, you know what? You playing now. As soon as he say that, the floor dropped from up under him.
Oh, my Lord today.
Right on the hill.
My Lord.
That's what the congregation say too when I say that. And I say, let me ask you something. Now see, when I say that, they get the picture. I say, let me ask you something. I say, tell me how ridiculous this sounds. How many of you guys tithe 10% every week? And most of the people put their hand up in the audience, right? And I say, isn't this crazy? That you literally are tithing every week, even when you can't afford it, that you feel like it? I said, how many people tithe and felt like you had something you're supposed to be paying for and you just trusted God? They put their hand up again. I said, so you telling me that you tithing 10% every week to make sure you're in God's good graces, and then you're going to die. And all the money that you could be spending right now, that you're tithing with, you're going to not do a will and leave 10% in the will to the church, and you can't spend that anyway?
Mm.
When you write your will, it's going to whoever it's going to. So you ain't even going to touch whatever you leave. It's going to wherever you send it. So you're giving God 10% every week of money that you could be spending, but you're not going to put the church in your will when you're leaving, and you ain't going to be the one spending that money anyway.
Oh, wow.
And when they hear it put that way, it makes sense to them.
Right.
Some of them will sign up because you did this story about the family with the healthcare power of attorney. Some of them will sign up because they don't want to go to hell. And they think if they don't keep 10% to the church, they can go to hell. Right? So at the end of that will workshop in that church, and I do that, you wouldn't believe how many people enroll just because they're thinking, I got to get my will done and I got to leave 10% of my will to the church. Does that make sense?
Wow. Mm-hmm.
So they enroll for that reason. So those church members, it ends up being a big deal for them when you're doing it for a religious congregation. So I do these for religious organizations. I do them for nonprofits a lot of times. And then, of course, obviously I do them for my accounts, and, like I said, the scripts I showed you, I do them for other people and for other reasons as well. And I'm telling you guys, it really does work, but you have to do them this way. And you have to learn to engage with them without using that PowerPoint. That PowerPoint is really a training tool for you to have an idea of what you should be discussing and how things should work. If you're just a really scripted PowerPoint type of person, that's just how you move and you have access to use a PowerPoint, a lot of churches will let you do that. Some companies will. Then use the PowerPoint, because in that PowerPoint, I've got the Legal Shield membership as well. And it's in there broken down in a way that when you go through it, it's not set up the way it is if you go to a briefing. It's set up where it goes into the will first. Does that make sense? So it goes directly into the will, and then it talks about the other things like estate planning and all that before it goes in. Then it, you know, it goes in and it says, you know, would you rather pay $1, you know, $1 a day or $2.50 an hour, or it says, I think, do you want to pay $1 a day or $900 for an attorney to do a will or something like that? It says in there. So I have it just worded a little bit differently so that it's more beneficial to people that way. So I want you guys to be able to take advantage of it. It is going to take me about 24 to 48 hours to get that to you, because I am changing some stuff on it because of what's going on now, and I want it to be some COVID-19 stuff in there. I think I want that verbiage to be in there, so I'm making some alterations to it, and I got somebody helping me do it. So they're doing it in one place, and then we kind of sharing files, so it's just taking a little bit longer than it should. But the other scripts are in there for everybody to take advantage of. But just learn to, when you're doing these will workshops with people, to really be yourself. Be yourself, put you into it, and get them to see the value of getting, and you got to make it emotional. It's got to be an emotional reason for them to do it, and they will buy into it. So let me go real quickly to, okay, I got it so that people can unmute themselves if they have a question. Obviously do that respectfully. Don't talk over other people. I typically try to get the women first. So if you hear a woman asking a question, then, you know, obviously let her ask her a question if you're a male. Does anybody have any questions about anything we just went over? Go on once. Go on twice. Okay, good stuff. Let's see. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me ask that again, because I hit the wrong button. Let me ask that again. You can unmute yourself right now. If you have any questions about anything we went over, go ahead and unmute yourself and ask a question.
Robert, it's Diane. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Quick question, and you may have covered this because I got a phone call, but are you handing out the paper will questionnaire when you're doing this?
Good question. So in the excuse me, in the PowerPoint, I have the will questionnaire in the PowerPoint. So you can literally flip through the will questionnaire. So in my folder, they have the will questionnaire. They have what happens when you die without a will in a state, whatever state you in. So you're gonna have to pull that yourself, because I have the one for Florida, but I don't have it for other states. So they have something called dying intestate. So for your state, you're gonna have to go to Google and say, what happens when you die without a will in Virginia? And it'll let you know, and then make that a PDF. So put that in the folder, put the Legal Shield application in the folder. I use the one pager. I'm gonna send y'all the one pagers as well. I never use the other ones with all the, you know, the triplicate. That's just too much paperwork for me. One page application, Legal Shield folder, will questionnaire. So when you're flipping through the will questionnaire, I have it big with the numbers on the side. So they can flip through their will questionnaire while it's going through the slides. So that's important as well. So, and I'm glad you brought that up, Diane, because there's a couple of things I didn't mention. So you will see in the email that I send you guys what goes in the folder and all of that kind of stuff. So, and this is really important. So Diane, thanks for that question. Really important. You guys got to operate as a business. And this is one of the very reasons in this scope. So for those who know me already, I know most of my trainings, I always say that. If I do a Super Saturday, if I do a CDLP, you should not be operating Legal Shield as whatever your name is. So if you're Octavia and that's your legal, if you're in Legal Shield, that's Octavia with your social security number, you're operating the wrong way. You need to form a company and operate and do a name and number change to operate as a company. I've got two companies, Living Legacy Benefits Group and Oceanside Benefits Group. Why? Because one, you should be operating as a business, and two, Legal Shield doesn't always have the best name everywhere you go. And that's not a secret. It's not about hiding Legal Shield. It's about letting people know you before they know that you're Legal Shield. because you got to get people to buy into you as a brand first, because sometimes people had a bad experience and it wasn't Legal Shield, it was the last rep. But they stick it to Legal Shield. So if you walk in and say, I'm Legal Shield, they're like, get out of here. If you walk in there and tell them who you are, then they get to know you and they're like, okay, and then you tell them you sell Legal Shield, now they'll give it another chance. That's one reason. In this space, the reason is people will step all over you. If you go to a church, tell them what you Legal Shield, if anybody from Legal Shield is in that church, you ain't getting in there. I can promise you that. If it's a nonprofit, you're not getting in there. When I go in there as Living Legacy Benefits Group, what they're saying is Living Legacy Benefits Group is coming here to do a will workshop. By the time they find out I'm Legal Shield, is when I'm set up in their hallway, which I didn't go over any of that, and I'll do a 5-minute little demo on that. When they find out, it's too late for them to stop me from coming here. So I'm Living Legacy Benefits Group until that pastor gives me a date. When that pastor gives me a date and says, can you come in on this date? It needs to be 3 weeks out from the date that I'm coming to do the presentation, because I need to go to your church for 2 weeks in a row. I do not just come to your church to do a will workshop. I actually come to your church for 2 Sundays in a row. And at the end of the church, I have tables set up in the lobby with the flyers that I'm gonna give you guys when I send you the email that gets them to register for the will workshop. You wanna register people for that. You do not wanna just expect people to come. So there's a registration process, and I do all that, and all of my stuff has Living Legacy on it, and I do it that way. When they see that it's legal, it's too late. They come, and you always know, because the Legal Shield rep always come and introduce themselves. And if they got a good spirit, they kind of like, oh, I'm glad to see you here. If they don't, they come and say something slick. Don't matter one way or another, but you're going to know. When they find out you Legal Shield, they coming for you. So don't go in there and tell them what you Legal Shield. Don't say Legal Shield until you got the appointment. Just make sure you're clear on that. When I send you the forms, one form is going to say why you should host the will workshop. The other form is going to be a registration form. The registration form you should print out on perforated paper. So if you go to Office Depot, they'll have paper that you can buy that the bottom is perforated. So you either do it that way or just cut it yourself. You know what I mean? So you'll see the dotted line. So if you print it off on regular paper, just take a cutter or scissors, however you want to do it, and cut it. And the reason why you're doing the perforated or the cut paper is because the top half has the where you're holding the will workshop at, the time and the date. And the bottom of it, they fill out, which is the registration, and they leave that with you. So when a person comes to my table, so I've got tables out in the lobby. And what do you put on your tables, guys? Candy. Because what does candy do? Attract kids. And what do kids do? Attract parents. And who we want at our will workshop? Parents, right? So when the kid walks up to the table and they say candy, the parents say, that's my son, and I say, you my parent. You coming to my will workshop. That's how that works. So you want to have your box set up. And when they fill out the registration, they're going to take the bottom half of the registration, put it in your box where you're going to be calling from your registrations. I have somebody that's going to make those calls for you. The top half is going to go with them for them to put on their refrigerator or wherever they put things that they know that they're going to be doing in the future. And then somebody from your team needs to be calling on these people within about 2 or 3 days before the will workshop to remind them. So that's why you have the registration forms. Somebody takes those and they call and they say, hey, I'm just calling to remind you. Hey, Tanya, I know you said you were coming to the will workshop. Keep in mind, the pastor okayed it for you to bring friends and family. So if a person that you know that does not attend this church, they can still come to the will workshop. And that's what you want to do. You want to have somebody making that phone call, or you need to be making that phone call. That's how you want to do that. So, and you want to have Legal Shield folders at the will workshop. The pocketed folders with the stuff in the pockets. That's what you want to have. If you can't afford the Legal Shield folders, then just buy some folders from a store and put the stuff in there. If you can get the Legal Shield folders, get them. If not, then I get it. I understand. So just keep that in mind when it comes to that. Thank you for that question, Diane. Somebody asked me which one is used for cutting which form. What you mean, Tim? You asked a question? Unmute yourself. I see your little mute button on. And I can't help you. I can't tell you what to unmute because I don't know.
It's a microphone.
I can't even help you. Unmute yourself. I don't know what to do with that, but go ahead and do it.
That's funny.
So your question says, it won't let you unmute? I don't know why. I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on. and I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, there we go. Try it now.
Okay. So which form is it that you take and perforate? Is that the registration form?
Yeah, and you're gonna know because when I email it to you, when you print it off, it's gonna have the perforated dots on it. So you'll
Okay.
know that that's so when you print it off on perforated paper, that's where it'll be at. And if you don't want to go through all that, just, you know what I mean, just print them off and then just have some scissors at the thing, and when somebody fills it out, just cut it. Or you can really do it old school. You can put it to the end of the table and just tear it. I mean, you know, I'm being bougie right now. You know, you really could just tear it, you know what I mean? But I'm just, you know, however you need to do it.
So you mentioned having teammates. Are you taking other people to the workshop with you to
Oh,
assist?
absolutely. I don't care what kind of presentation I'm doing. We'll workshop or nothing. It's, you know, it depends on who you are and how you move. If I got about 10 people somewhere, I could do it myself. Anything more than 10 people, I'm bringing a spotter with me.
Okay.
If I got 20, 25, 30 people, I'm bringing maybe 2 spotters with me. Everybody got their own rule on how they do that, but I've been doing presentations longer than Legal Shield, and one thing for sure, you cannot answer questions and be filling out applications
At the same time.
at the same time. So some people don't want to bring people because they want to keep all the money, and, you know, I really got a whole bunch of conversations with that person. They'll figure that out on their own. I always got people with me. I've never done a will workshop by myself unless I'm doing it for a company and it's the employees, because it's different. You know what I mean? Because they're filling out payroll deduction applications and it's a different setup. When I'm doing a will workshop at a nonprofit or a church or anything like that, I always have a spotters with me because I don't know the people. You know what I mean? And I don't want people to walk off and not get their question answered. And people have a whole bunch of questions and you can't answer them by yourself. Yep, always
Okay.
bring people with me for that.
Got it. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Dunbar. I wanted to know if we wanted to obtain the recording, where will we be able to obtain that?
I will post that probably 1,000 different places. So if you're on this webinar, you probably got an email from me through MailChimp. If you got the email from me through MailChimp, then I'm going to email everybody in that database the recording.
Thank you so much.
But anybody that's on here that found it on Facebook or something like that, then I'm going to post it on my page. I'm going to post it on the Legal Shield Support, Legal Shield Success. It'll be on Instagram. So, you know, and if you just, you know, and if you just lucky enough to not be able to find it in all those places, just call me. Anybody else? Anybody else with a question? Unmute yourself. Going once.
Mr. Dunbar.
Yes, sir. Hey, Mr. Toby.
All right, how are you, sir?
I'm doing excellent. How about yourself?
Doing well, thank you. And I know I've heard you state this before. I want to engage insurance professionals or financial professionals. Do you have the verbiage for that, or did you share that earlier?
Yeah, I did. So if you look in the file section,
Okay,
I've got 3 scripts down there.
wonderful.
Yeah.
I got it.
And one of them says script for professional sellers, GAs, and GAs.
Got it. Okay.
Yep, absolutely. And when you listen to the recording, you'll hear it because I actually break the script down.
Right. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. You got it, brother. Anybody else?
Mr. Dunbar,
Valerie.
hey, I just want to thank you. I know you were going to give us opportunity to say thanks, but I couldn't hold it. This is incredible.
Oh, man, thank you.
Thank you for all the work you put in it.
I appreciate
Incredible. Thank you.
Thank y'all for attending, because that would have been really embarrassing if I'd have done all this and would have been nobody. Just, you know, just me and 2 people hanging out. Can't get nobody to attend my webinar even while they stuck in the house. I appreciate you. Anybody else? Any questions?
Robert, this is Annette Roselle in Atlanta. You just did a great job, and I really appreciate you doing this.
Oh, thank you. I'm gonna try to start doing more. I normally do them annually. I'm gonna try to do more because I seem like I'm doing less live ones. So I will try to get myself set up to do more of these online for people that I don't get to, because I don't travel to every area, obviously. So I will try to do more of these. So thank you. I appreciate it.
I think it's excellent, and I've not seen this in the company. I've been an associate for years, even though I haven't been that active. But I've not seen anybody do this like this. So I really commend you for it. Absolutely.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it. And everybody on the line that got on late, if you look in the file section, there is a link in the chat box in the beginning for the 3 scripts, and the 3 scripts are actually, the PDFs are in the file section as well. And I'm also going to be emailing the scripts and a bunch of other stuff to you guys when this is over with. Anybody else with any questions?
Yeah, me. Robert, quick question for you. Are you going to be doing any training on the CDLP for at the Dallas online streaming? And if so, great. If not, are you going to do one like this anyway?
No, I'm not personally. Abby Parker and Cassie Prinky were supposed to have been doing the Dallas, and now they're not, obviously, because there's no Dallas. So what they're doing now is they're setting up a monthly CDLP certification, but I'm not the one doing it. It's Alan Roman and Chris Seelig. So April 18th, there will be, on that Saturday, there will be an online CDLP training for anybody to take with Alan Roman and Chris Seelig. So you can get registered for that. It's already in LMS. And I'll tell you, when all of this is over with, I'll be in 2 places a week. Y'all already know that. I've been home for 3 weeks. I can't take it. So yeah, I'll be everywhere. I'll be in every area, any city that lets me in. I'll be there doing a training. I'll promise you. I'll promise you. I had to cancel about 7 trainings when that happened.
Oh,
I had
wow.
7 Super Saturdays and trainers I was doing when this came, so I had to cancel them all, obviously. So yeah, but I'll definitely be back on the run when it's all said and done with. So appreciate you asking. Anybody else?
Mr. Dunbar?
Yep.
When you go and visit the church twice,
Mm-hmm.
you set the table up the second time you go?
Oh, both times.
Both times, okay.
I set the table up both times, and I also get in front of the congregation for about 2 minutes. The pastor normally lets me come up just to say, "Hey, I'm Robert Dunbar. I'll be doing a will workshop for you guys on this date. If you have any questions, when church is over with, we'll be in the lobby at the tables." That's all I say, and then I sit back down. And I do that for 2 weeks before the will workshop. So don't ever let a pastor or a church tell you, "What can you do it next week?" Because you're really hurting your attendance unless you put it out so that you could visit the church twice, because church folks work like this. And most of you know this already. Right. I come the first time, I'm a stranger. I come the second time, I'm family. I come the third time, they hugging me. Does that make sense? So when I show up to do the will workshop, it's like they're going to already feel like they know me because I've been there the last 2 weeks sitting in the church. Okay. That's why I do that way, so that I'm not a stranger. And for those that speak, you already know. If I get up in front of the room the first time, what are y'all looking at? My glasses, my hair, why I walk crooked, why I stutter. You know what I mean, right? Why I got these shoes on with these pants, my jacket don't match my shirt. That's all you looking at. All you doing is clowning me in your head. And don't let it be a woman up there speaking, because the women, they're going to tear her apart. Mm-hmm. She can have chip toenail polish, and that's all they be talking about. So if I go up there for 2 weeks in a row first, before I ever do my presentation, by the time it's time for me to do my will workshop, you already know I'm weird. You already know my eyes are crooked and one eye is half shut. You already used to that. So it don't matter. So you just gonna listen to me. Because you like, oh, I already know we seen this weirdo 2 weeks in a row. We already know. He crazy. So they gonna listen to you though now. Because they saw you crazy for the last 2 weeks. They've already made all the jokes. That's why I go up there twice before I do the Make sense?
Yeah.
All right. Any more questions?
Yes, Mr. Dunbar.
Hey, Dunbar.
Yeah. Hey, what's up?
Hey, it's Sharanda.
How you doing, Sharanda?
I'm doing good. The CDLP training for Dallas is going to be on the April 2nd for the convention from 10 to 3.
Okay, so they're still doing it online?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I didn't know that. So there's one April 2nd and one April 18th.
Right.
Gotcha. Good. That's good to know. See, it's good to have another certification training online, ain't it?
and yeah, so they still can register to the 31st
good
of this month. Yeah.
And when y'all see Sharanda Ivy, congratulate her. She just got the Ladies Award for field trainer, the #1 field trainer for the entire company.
Wow.
Big stuff.
Awesome.
Big stuff.
Robert, I just posted the link for the agenda for everybody for convention too.
Excellent. Thank you, Miss Diane. And Miss Boomney, I see you keep showing up. You trying to ask a question over there?
Yeah, it was. Great job, Mr. Dunbar. I appreciate you. This, I think you have a side gig as well anyway. But it's on the real. So with the churches that you said you set up, but what about if you set them up in different states that you don't live in? How are you going to visit them twice? You know what I mean? Before the actual.
I don't typically set up churches in other states. Like if I'm doing them, I won't set them up in other states. So I haven't had that experience. If I was going to set one up, it would have to be a big enough church for me to be out there for 3 weeks. You know what I mean? Like it would have to be a big enough deal. And typically speaking, if I was working with somebody in that area as a field trainer or something like that, somebody I was working with, I would have them go. Like, I mean, I would have the person that lives in that area go for 2 weeks, and then I would just come for the actual will workshop.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I would do if it was out of town. Yep.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. For me to be there for 3 weeks, it had to be TD Jakes Church.
Lord, today.
You never know.
Or the guy that got the private, or the guy that bought the private jet with his congregation's money. He can fly me there, I guess.
I know who that one is, but.
Anybody else? Any questions?
Mr. Dunbar.
Yes.
Do you tell the people that the will is free?
I tell them, I never say the will is free because I don't want them to think the membership is free. I tell them that we do the will at no additional cost to the cost of the membership.
Yes.
So I do cover the cost in the
No additional cost.
Yep.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Yep. I always tell them at no additional cost. Yeah, I try to stay away from free unless it's actually free. Yeah. Anybody else? Any more questions?
Sherry Nappet here. I put it in the chat, but what time of the day or is it, how do you set up your presentations? Is you find a weekday the best, morning, afternoon? And what is your big close? How do you time your call to action?
My call to action is normally when I close out by letting them, if it's a church, when I go through the story about why it's important for them to give 10% to their church, when I end with that story, they kind of get where I'm going with that. So when I tell them that the floor drops from under the guy and he drops down the hill, when I say that, that's their close. Like they totally get that when I'm talking about a church, when I'm at a church, they totally get that. Some of them are laughing, some of them looking crazy, but they get it and they start to fill out paperwork. How do I set them up? Sometimes I'll do it after church on that Sunday. A lot of times they will have like a hall or something to do it. Some churches will do it. You can replace the Bible studies. So they may do Bible studies on Wednesday night from 7:30 to 8:30. That works as well because that's an automatic audience for you. Because those people were coming to Bible studies anyway. And now all they're doing is instead of doing Bible studies that week, they're letting you do a will workshop. So that's always a good option. Always a good option, yep.
Do you actually go through the will work, the the will thing? You actually go through that during the presentation?
Do I go through what now? Say that again. What do I go through? What part?
Oh.
When you say do I go through the will, like do I go through what?
The will worksheet.
Like the will questionnaire?
Yes.
Yeah, it's in the PowerPoint and they have a will questionnaire in their folder, but that depends on how much time I have. So you're gonna have to alter how you do your presentation based on how much time that church gives you. Some pastors will give you 30 minutes, some pastors will tell you guys as long as you want. But what I would tell you though, if you do it over an hour and a half, you're gonna lose everybody anyway. Like if you're gonna do a will workshop that long, you better be really funny. Because you're gonna lose the people. The will questionnaire is in the PowerPoint that I'm gonna give you. So you will put the will questionnaire in the folders, but in the slides, when you're flipping through the slides, there's an area of the slideshow that is actually showing the will questionnaire, and I've got highlighted specific areas, and it's only for them to see the convenience. So you don't really want to go through it. So don't get caught up getting them to fill it out. That's not why I got that in there. You don't want them to fill out the will questionnaire during the workshop. That's way too time consuming. That's just to let them know how convenient it is to get the will done. Because it's just like signing people up at a presentation for a group. It's just about getting them right. Once they start writing their name in that will questionnaire paper and answering a few questions that are just at the top of their head, they eventually finish that will questionnaire. Does that make sense? So that's really what you want. You just want to get them writing. You don't really want them to try to fill it out there because they don't have the membership yet anyway. So it's not really going to do them no good. Anybody else? Any more questions?
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Go on once. Go on. I got people in the waiting room right now. What in the world is going on?
Maybe they think you're a doctor's office.
I don't know what they think. They in now though. Okay, any more questions? Hold on. Oh, did I get it? Okay, everybody can unmute, right? Any more questions? Go on once. Go on twice. Okay, so I am going to email this recording off tonight. So anybody that wants to listen to it, they will have it. And I'm going to email the scripts tonight. So you will get the recording and the scripts tonight. Everything else, 24 to 48 hours. I might put the apps in there. The one-page apps will be there as well, because those are ready. So one-page apps, scripts, and the recording to this will all come to you tonight, probably within like the next 30 minutes. You guys good? All right.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
If you don't get the email before you call me, before you text me, before you do any of that, check your spam and make sure you know how to get into your own email. And don't be calling me asking me how I get in my email, because I ain't got because y'all be asking me some crazy stuff. I don't know my password to my email. I'll be like, neither do I. So, so, all right, guys. So it's been a pleasure. If I get enough demand for another one, I will certainly do another one. So that's the deal. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
You guys have been wonderful. It's been fun.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good night and thank you.
Thank you. Stay safe out there. Thank you, sir.
I feel like I owe you. I feel like I should be paying for something.
Oh no! Hey, I charge people for enough stuff already. You ain't gotta pay.
Okay. I mean, we got a comedy show for free.
Yeah.
You know, we got the wheel workshop training, so that was awesome. Thank you.
You guys got it. Yeah, that's anytime. Whenever I do this, it's always free. Always free. Don't worry about that. Yeah.
All right. Thank y'all. Y'all have a wonderful night.
Have a good night. Thank you. Have a good night.
Let me know. Just contact me. You guys pretty much, most of you guys got my number, so just contact me if you need to.